They thought that by killing the man, they could kill his empire. But Julius Caesar was more dangerous dead than alive, for his ghost was about to burn the ancient world to ashes. In 34 BC, Antony committed the ultimate political sin in the eyes of Rome. In a lavish ceremony known as the Donations of Alexandria, he declared Cleopatra's children the rulers of Roman lands. He was giving away Rome's empire to a foreign queen and her sons. To the people in the capital, this was treason.
He has forgotten Rome! He has become an Egyptian!
Octavian seized the moment. He stole Antony's private will and read it to the public, proving that Antony wanted to be buried in Alexandria, not Rome. He painted Antony as a man gone native, a noble Roman corrupted by the luxury and magic of the East. The Roman people, once lovers of Antony, now demanded his head. Octavian was careful. He didn't declare war on Antony. He declared war on Cleopatra. He made it a fight for Roman values against a foreign threat. The drums of war began to beat from the hills of Rome to the shores of the Nile. The largest naval force the ancient world had ever seen was now gathering at Actium. On the coast of Greece, the two worlds finally collided. Over 600 ships and 200,000 men waited for the sunrise. It was to be the battle that would decide who would rule the Mediterranean and the course of Western history for the next 500 years. On the 2nd of September, 31 BC, the fate of the civilized world hung in the balance off the coast of Greece. Antony's strategy relied on his massive floating castles designed to crush enemy ships. But Octavian's general, Agrippa, had a different plan, utilizing smaller, lightning-fast vessels to encircle the giants. The battle was a brutal, slow-motion nightmare. Antony's heavy ships couldn't catch the nimble Roman vessels, which darted in, severed the enemy's oars, and retreated. For hours, the sky was filled with fire and arrows. It was a chaotic stalemate until a sudden movement changed everything. In the middle of the chaos, the wind shifted, seizing the only opportunity to save her treasury and her fleet. Cleopatra made a shocking decision. Her 60 warships raised their sails and broke through the lines, fleeing south toward Egypt, leaving the battle behind.
How did it come to this?
When Antony saw Cleopatra's sails disappearing on the horizon,
My fleet burning!
Something inside the great general broke, abandoning his army, his honor, and the thousands of soldiers fighting and dying in his name. He boarded a small galley and chased after her. It was the moment he lost the war and his place in history. By nightfall, the Battle of Actium was over. Antony's abandoned fleet surrendered, and Octavian was left as the sole, undisputed master of the Mediterranean. The last obstacle between the boy and total dominion over Rome had been crushed. The hunt was now moving to Alexandria. A year after the disaster at Actium, the storm arrived at the gates of Egypt. Octavian's legions marched on Alexandria by land and sea. Antony and Cleopatra were trapped in their own capital. Their armies were deserting them, and the Golden Kingdom of the Ptolemies was about to face its final, brutal reckoning.
Rome is lost. Cleopatra is gone. There is nothing left.
Believing a false rumor that Cleopatra had already committed suicide, Mark Antony fell into total despair. The great general, who had once ruled half the Roman world, saw no way out. In a final, tragic act of honor, he turned his weapon upon himself, choosing death over being paraded through Rome in chains. Cleopatra had locked herself inside her heavily fortified royal tomb, surrounded by her immense treasures. When she learned that Antony was dying, she had his broken body hauled up through the window of her monument. He died in her arms, leaving her alone to face the cold wrath of Caesar's heir.
You will walk in my triumph, Queen.
Octavian captured the tomb, face to face with the legendary queen. He promised to spare her life, but Cleopatra was too clever. She realized his true plan. He wanted to take her back to Rome as a trophy, to mock her in front of the same crowds that once feared her. She resolved that Rome would never see her defeated. On August 10, 30 BC, Cleopatra closed her eyes for the last time. Dressed in her finest royal robes, she chose to die on her own terms, allegedly using the venom of a sacred asp hidden in a basket of figs. With her death, the 300-year-old Ptolemaic dynasty ended, and the 3,000-year-old history of the pharaohs was buried forever.
Caesarion, son of Julius Caesar.
But there was one final loose end. Caesarion, the teenage son of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra, was the true king of Egypt. Octavian knew that as long as Caesar's biological bloodline lived, his own power was illegitimate. Too many Caesars is not a good thing, his advisors whispered. The order was given, and the boy king vanished from history.